Hello and welcome to this episode of JJ Meets World featuring Lisa Meyers. Lisa is the owner, operator, and all-around BA of businesses such as Dempseys. You guys are going to get a deep dive into what it's like to be a local restaurateur, to have to make decisions like, is this fish fresh enough? And when to cut somebody off when they are at a bar. Plus, Tucker and I talk about the workforce shortage and where the kids are, as if we're 80-year-old men. Enjoy this episode of JJ Meets World, but first, a quick word from our sponsor. This episode of JJ Meets World is brought to you by Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty. Natalie has a proven track record to get your home sold faster and for more money. She is consistently focused on her clients' needs and wants throughout the entire process and make sure that they are well taken care of. If you're looking to buy or sell, reach out to Natalie today. On average, Natalie sells a home every 3.74 days. That's at least 2 a week. And last year, Natalie earned her clients on average over $4,000 above list price on their homes. And you don't have to take our word for it. Here's some of the great reviews Natalie has received. I was overwhelmingly impressed with Natalie and all the Hatch team. She was very responsive and responded to all of the emails within an hour. She gave great advice and encouragement from the listing and pictures, the offer, and all the closing details. The marketing team knew exactly how to promote my property, and I was pleased by how soon and easily my property received an offer. I was actually dreading selling my condo, and Natalie did such an awesome job that I felt like I really didn't need to do anything. The thing I most appreciated was that she really listened to what I wanted to do and respected my decisions. I would definitely recommend Natalie and all the Hatch Realty team. They made this process so wonderful. That was from Diane. So listen, if you're in the mood to buy or sell a home, give Natalie a call right now. You can reach her at 701-388-9338. Natalie, Natalie, at hatchrealtyfm.com, or you can go to livefargomorehead.com. That's livefargomorehead.com and find out some information. Huge thanks to Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty for sponsoring JJ Meets World.
1, 2, 3, 4. JJ Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. JJ has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirls as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called JJ Meets World.
Where is the young workforce? So it's no surprise that right now in Fargo, North Dakota, and other parts of the region that this podcast is being produced in, we have a workforce shortage. Even when the economy was bad, we still had the lowest unemployment because we have the most job openings of really anywhere when you consider it per capita. And what I think is missing from the equation is the young people. I don't see nearly as many young people working at places like fast food restaurants and retail. I'm seeing more people who have a second job and are more into their adult life. I don't know. Are we working kids too hard in high school and we've got too many activities that go too late in the evening? So if you want to put yourself ahead of the pack to get into college or whatever you plan on doing, you're making the most of it. Are parents not forcing their kids to get a job? I had a job when I was in 7th grade, and I've pretty much had a job since then.
I wonder how much of it has to do with just how much you can actually make at a minimum wage job anymore, since it has not been adjusted with inflation in the same way. But I don't know.
But let me throw this. I can't tell you a job around here that pays minimum wage. I mean, you drive by an Arby's and it says starting at $12 an hour. Uh-huh. So I think that there's a massive amount of, for example, there is a Taco Bell near my house that has to close down on certain days because they don't have the staff to keep the Taco Bell open. Now, if you own that Taco Bell, you're taking a hit, right? So not only is the inconsistency of your business hours hurting someone from thinking of stopping at your business, but you're also not generating any income while you're closed. So to that individual, should they be paying $15 an hour to try and attract talent, or is the talent just not out there in any way, shape, or form? I also hear so many businesses talking about, we just need a warm body. We just need somebody here. We can train anybody to put T-shirts onto hangers and hang them up.
I wonder if market saturation has anything to do with it, because it's been a long-running joke in this town that, oh, hey, did you hear there's a new restaurant opening this weekend?
True.
Right? Like, that's constantly happening. We have too many apartment buildings, right? We don't just have too many jobs. We have too many apartment buildings. We can't find people to put them in there.
Have we created our own worst enemy where we assume that the population is denser than it actually is? I also think this. How many college students are putting themselves through college rather than just getting a loan, a student loan that covers housing and food,
right?
And then they maybe get like a once a day job so that they can afford a little beer money or something. I wouldn't be surprised if that's more the norm. So I find it to be frustrating as a resident here when you can't go down a street without seeing 5 now hiring signs. It's also frustrating in the fact that there's so many different, I work in radio during the day. It seems like no one's having a commercial for like, come on into our furniture store. We've got the best furniture possible. It's like, come on in and apply right now at Tucker's Furniture. We'd really love it if you came here because these couches aren't going to sell themselves.
I wonder if, we just spent a previous episode extolling the virtues of Amazon. Maybe this is all Amazon's fault.
But even that, okay, so even the Amazon trickle down, Amazon's not selling fast food. Amazon is not, there's no waitress equivalent to Amazon.
Right.
So even if we put people out of jobs at the nice local bookstore, which by the way, patronize your local bookstore.
Certainly today's guest is not worried about Amazon taking away her business. Today's
guest is Lisa Meyers. When she starts listing the businesses she's been a part of, you're going to be like, oh my gosh. It's sort of like knowing Willy Wonka, right? Like, it's this person who changed my life for the better. And we're going to talk about what it's like to be a restaurateur, what's it's like to be a business owner.
Lisa's businesses have been the anchors of downtown for a long time.
I dare say that the business Dempseys was the kickoff to the revitalization of downtown Fargo. Our studio is right across from an 18-story building that's being built, and I don't think that building would exist without Dempseys.
Right.
Dempsey's was the draw that started bringing younger people back to Fargo and made it a hip place to be. So while there have been a lot of businesses who took a risk and made downtown where it is, the epicenter, the push was Dempsey's. And then to do all the other stuff. And I don't want to put the cart before the horse because it's going to be exciting when she talks about it. But it takes people with vision and it takes people with hard work like what Lisa's been doing to revitalize downtown Fargo. And it's amazing because this time 20 years ago, my parents wouldn't even let me go to downtown Fargo. It was nothing. It was a place. It was the bad part of town. Mm-hmm. And so now there have been a lot of great things, some also not so great things because they decided that it was a place for the rich to play. And so we pushed out a lot of individuals, which is unfortunate, but that's a podcast for an entirely different discussion. So sit back, relax, enjoy this episode with Lisa. It's a ton of fun and you're going to learn something before the day is done.
And then let's go get drunk at Dempsey's.
Let's do it.
JJ Meets World.
Welcome to the studio, Lisa Meyers. First and foremost, you chose to drink a squirt this morning when we're recording, which really is the breakfast pop choice because it's got grapefruit in it.
I was going to say, that's what you just told me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I totally would have had that beer, but...
Yeah. What's your first choice when it comes to soda, pop, whatever you call it, fizzy drink?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola? Mm-hmm. Just a classic?
Classic.
Did you ever see one of those
Straight up.
things where someone puts a tooth in Coca-Cola and it takes like 3 days for the tooth to dissolve?
Actually, I don't think I've heard about that, but it doesn't surprise me.
I know for a fact
I mean,
that
look at my teeth.
Coca-Cola has a much lower acidity though than Pepsi, and I'm a Pepsi drinker. At my dentist office, he has a big grid map on the wall that ranks the acidity level of all these different drinks, and Pepsi is like 1 or 2 steps away from battery acid, and so it's like down here in the bottom. But like Coca-Cola is close to the top. Like of the sodas out there, it's one of the less acidic, I believe.
When people tell me that they can't tell the difference between like Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi, I think, what is wrong with your palate?
Yeah, they're clearly different.
Way different.
One is delicious and the other is gross. It's easy.
Okay, I'm kind of one of the. Well, I don't drink them, so if if side by side, I would totally be like, I don't know which one's which, but I can totally tell a difference.
Yeah.
But if you handed me the blind taste, I'd be like, I
bet you could. I think you're short selling your abilities because
maybe
I
should start drinking them.
Okay, so Lisa, let's get straight into this thing.
Oh,
Tell
God.
us about the businesses that you're involved with, because people claim to be your best friend all over town, but I don't know if they really are all your best friend
Well-
or they're just big fans.
First off, I don't really have any friends, so that's a total lie.
Sort of the rule of being a business owner, right? It's just, what time for friends do you have?
I know the owners. Oh, really? So do I. They send my big checks. And I'd like that to continue, so I'm not comping your tab. My businesses, which one do you want to start with?
Which you lay it out. We'll walk through them.
I mean, I could go start at I'd say long story short, but that's never the case with me. Our first business endeavor was on Friday this week. The 15th is actually, I just realized, our 20th anniversary of the day Bert and I opened our first restaurant.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and we're still together.
And what restaurant was that?
That was the first Petrosas. A lot of you still talk to me to this day about it. I was there on opening day. It was, I think, I heard they tore it down now yesterday. I heard about it but.
Oh, I haven't even been in the black building for a while.
No, not the black building.
Oh,
honey, this was 1999.
Gotcha.
November 15th. It was an old gas station across the street from the Olivet Lutheran Church on University.
Yep.
For many years, it was Paul's Auto Center, and now I heard they just tore that down.
Yeah, now it's just like a
Relatively
parking
recently.
lot. But there's a food truck that's been hanging
Paved
out there.
Paradise,
So
put up a parking lot. But yeah, we opened there in 1999, and then about a year and a half later, we moved out to 45th Street next to the JT Cigarros in the original building. And then in 2002 is when I opened Petrosas in the black building.
which was a real go-to when I worked at the Fargo Theater. Like, it was great because I'd think, I don't have any afternoon meetings. Pile on the hot peppers.
Yeah. That you're there for a decade. Well, then I sold that, and then, that was the end of that. But,
Why'd you get it? I mean, Bertrosas had a very, like, Chicago feel
Yeah, okay.
as far as food. What's the point? Why?
So my husband, Bert, and his twin brother, and well, anyway, they were all born in Chicago, and they lived there till, I don't know, 7, 8 years old or whatever. But they grew up on that food. And when I was, met Bert, and he was always talking about wanting to open this Chicago style restaurant. And I'm like, nice pipe dream, like we have no money. Like, how the hell are we going to open a Chicago style restaurant? Well, then lo and behold, it just kind of fell into our lap. Like, that place came available, and it's like, holy shit, this happened.
They say that opening a restaurant is one of the most stressful things in the world, and that you have to give so much of yourself to that business.
Yeah. If you don't work that business, it's not going to survive. A lot of people think, I'll just open a business and pay people to run it. And it's like, no, first off, people like to see you there working it. They know, then they know, you care and this
They
and
trust
that.
you.
And,
They trust the product.
Well, yeah. And they know that you're, kind of overseeing it. You're overseeing everything, the, quality and everything. And we do have multiple businesses. We obviously can't work at all of them at the same time, but at least in the beginning stage or the first stages, make sure you're there, you're visible, people, because there's always going to be, things that the managers don't even know they need to,
Right.
come to you for. So yeah, it is a labor of love for sure.
Bertros's is the only Fargo business that I ever read about in Sky Mall.
Yes, I got a copy of that magazine.
I didn't even know it was going to be there. I used to travel a lot for my for a previous job, and one time I'm in a plane and I got nothing to do, so I pulled out Sky Mall to start reading it, and there was an article about the beer cheese soup at Bertrossa's in downtown Fargo, which I also thought was delicious.
We sold gallons of that every day. It was at least 5, 6, 7 gallons. And we had 3 soups all the time every day. So, I mean, just that one soup.
Do you ever think about, what's the future of Bertrossa's from here on out? Do you ever have the inkling to be like, we want to pop-up shop it for a weekend here or there, or we want to make the soup available but only during the month of December?
A lot of people... This last, I don't know, probably 8 months, I've had so many of my old customers just talk, I miss that place. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Sometimes I kind of entertain the idea in my head, like, I don't know, but I would downscale it kind of back to the original store where we just had like the classics, the Italian beef, the Chicago style, the Vienna beef hot dogs, the gyros. Cause I mean, downtown was, I had to have a lot of options, salad bar and a special every day. And it was, it's just,
Are there like hints of Bertrossa's that you can find at Dempsey's or Wurst or anything like that?
Not really anymore. Okay. Well, after we sold it, we didn't want to, compete with them. So we didn't want to serve our beer cheese at Wurst or, took it off the menu at Dempsey's and, because we just didn't want to pull their business away.
Right.
That's just a crappy thing to do.
It's not only a crappy thing to do, but it's also an incredibly kind thing to do because you could have, right?
Oh, we totally could have done anything. I mean, we could have we got the Italian beef. I mean, we could have opened up another, Chicago style restaurant just down the street.
It's Rose Bert's.
Right.
Rose Bert's. No. So no, and then, after they closed, it just kind of was like, well, now it's almost kind of like out of people's minds. It's almost like it's too late. We could bring it back, but how many people are actually gonna, come in for it? Because, for the first, year, everyone's like, I miss it. And then after that, they kind of forget about it.
Wasn't there in the past couple of years, like a burger joint tried to reopen in town that had a lot of nostalgia factor for it? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was out in the West Acres area where they tried to reopen it. A couple of years ago.
King Leo's. Because King Leo's was like the first fast food restaurant in Fargo.
Yeah, and the thing was that they were riding on some nostalgia. I remember the news leading up to it, but then as soon as it opened, I mean, it just didn't seem like it was working out.
When you say nostalgia, had they been in the area before? Or
King Leo's was from Fargo, I think, originally. And it was on South University.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was
before almost any of our time. So the people talking about it with nostalgia were of a generation older than all of us, at least.
Oh, okay.
But I think what they found didn't speak to the owners of Leo's, but nostalgia got people in the door for the first week.
Yeah.
But didn't keep them there, especially in a town like Fargo, which has about 1 billion restaurants. There's like 5 restaurants for every one family. 1 billion and 1.
Yeah.
So I've always heard the challenges of any sort of food service industry business are just crazy. So could you most of us who have never even tried to do that? I haven't even worked
I thought you said never tried your food.
I know. I haven't even worked in food service, right? Like I never worked at a restaurant or a bar. So I don't really know the trials you have to go through to do that.
It's, finding, people that actually, even if you've never worked in the service industry, people at least can try or actually have some sort of, some people are good at it. Some people are just not meant to be servers. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't know that till after you hire them. And sometimes, people get it, obviously there's always a learning curve with everybody, but some people just don't ever get it. And sometimes it's just too late. It's like, oh, I found out the hard way.
Mm-hmm. I was a server for one afternoon, just helping out at a place I do marketing for. And I'm like, oh my God, this is one of the most stressful things I've ever done in my entire life.
Yeah. You have to multitask 100 different things all at the same time. And, customers and your coworkers and everyone. Yeah. It's like, and keep everything straight. And that's right. That person needed a straw. And I'm supposed to get a dip for, table, whatever. So that is a big one. Another one that we've, very easy for theft.
Yeah.
I mean, food. I mean, it's so food is hard to inventory sometimes, especially with like it's already made. Like nobody's food, and then also a cash business because there's really no trace of where the cash is or went or if you've ever gotten the cash register.
But then also, I mean, just the overhead of what you need to.
Oh God!
have.
Oh yeah. And not even,
just to even make the food.
Even before you even get to the part of employees and cash going missing. I mean, well, first off, the cost of equipment and everything you need, and then all the inventory and over. Yeah, it's insurance is outrageous.
So let's just use Wurst as an example.
Okay.
So you guys decide we're going to make this.
We should also say, like, for the people who aren't in Fargo, it's the Wurst Bier Hall, WURST. It's
Correct.
not the worst.
Correct.
It's Wurst Bier Hall.
But it's German themed when you go.
Well, sort of. I mean, we're not like
German
trying to be like total, traditional German. It's it's got a German flair, but
Right.
we don't serve only German food. We don't claim to be like a German,
Right.
Right. Music and lederhosen and dirndls and only worst sausages. And I mean, we have.
But was there sort of a conversation of, hey, let's open another business. What is something that we don't have right now in town that serves a need? Was that the conversation?
Well, we don't really talk like that, but
in my fancy way.
In your fancy way. I mean, that was like not our first choice, but we had, before that space, we had that space secured. We were looking at another space, and my husband had a different concept. And they wouldn't rent to us because they thought it was, he wanted to do a country bar, like beer and wings. And the owners of that space just thought, oh, it sounds like rednecks and troublemakers.
You're gonna bring in people with belt buckles.
Exactly.
And guns.
Yeah.
They just see that scene from Blues Brothers where they're throwing the bottles at like the chain link
Close-minded
fence.
people, if they see somebody that they think doesn't fit in, there's gonna be fights and whatnot. And so
you switched to sausages, and they were like, this makes sense.
It was like right away after that. But he was, looking online all the time, trying to figure out what we want to do with, with our next space. And he found, like, I figured it was East Coast or West Coast. I think it was West Coast. All these little sausage joints were just killing it. And he's like, well, what about a German's place? And I don't know. I guess I don't remember this conversation, but
Sure.
He said that he approached me and Klaus, his twin brother, and gave us three choices of options of which one we thought would be the best to put there. And we all both agreed and said Wurst, or the German place. And I don't remember that conversation.
Gotcha.
But I'm very forgetful too. I forget a lot of things.
I mean, are you guys just trying to work your way through different European countries? Because you got like Dempsey's is an Irish place. We've got a place that's got a German kind of feel to it. What's next? Like a Czech Republic?
We need a Polish place.
English fish and chips.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
That's like probably less than 2 weeks out.
Good. That's good. And I know you guys have been working on that.
Yeah,
for
it was supposed to be
long
open
time.
September 1st.
Yeah. And
Of this year.
And those are the challenges that you deal with something like a restaurant, because most restaurants are complete refits. It's very rare someone can just walk into a place that formerly was a restaurant and start something that is going to meet their needs. I did commercial kitchens for many years, and so I know what it's like to have to like get new stainless in there, or they're like, oh, sorry, your bead board is from 2 health inspections ago, you got to switch that out, or ooh, sorry, your hood is not big enough for what you're intending to do, so we have to put a whole new hood system in there, which has a fire, prevention system. It so much goes into it, rather than just like, I want to open a restaurant.
Yeah.
I make really good pie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I got an oven.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's, yeah. I don't even know what to say to that, but you're right. There's so many just like red tape almost, if you will, to go through. I mean, so many I's to dot and T's to cross and redot them and recross them. And then sometimes you get conflicting answers from 2 different people that are supposed to be like working for the same goal. Like, what passes inspections? The one guy told us this, and one guy told us not to do that. It's like, well, what do we do?
Most businesses too, especially on the scale of something like food service or something else where you're dealing with that many customers, there's going to be, because there's so much upfront cost and overhead and everything else, there's going to be a waiting period where you're just not profitable yet, right? You got to get through that period first.
They say the first 3 to 5 years.
Sure,
And
right?
If you first off, it's not profitable, and then if you last that long, you might be safe for the for a few more years that you're not going to close.
Exactly, but so many of these restaurants open. Within 6 months, they're toast because they just didn't. They weren't prepared to understand the pain they were in for the next couple of years if they wanted to make this happen.
I know one lady. She opened a restaurant, or she bought a restaurant because she thought it would be a fun hobby.
Hobby?
I believe that was I think that was the actual word she used, a hobby.
Fun.
Needless to say, it didn't last very long.
Yeah.
Well, and with all the growing pains, when you hit on something that's successful with the community and seems to start breeding its own life, so you're taking a risk, and there are all these downsides to being, a restaurateur, but then there's also some pretty high highs as well. I have to imagine when you walk in and every table is full and there's a line of people who are willing to wait an hour to be at your place, right? The folks who are proposing marriage on.
I don't think I've ever witnessed that, actually.
Really?
I don't believe I ever have.
Dempsey's is too
not
noisy.
in one of my businesses.
No, I've seen 2 proposals at Dempsey's.
Really?
You did?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I have. Yeah, I have seen at least one at Dempsey's. No, I have seen 2.
I just think mixing inebriation and proposal sounds like a bad idea.
Why is no one proposing at Wurst? You've got a finger-shaped food. You'd be like, slide this ring on there. Be like, that's a pretty chubby ring that would need to go over that sausage.
Well, for the record, that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I just haven't seen it. Maybe it has happened.
Right.
Just when I wasn't there.
Put this necklace into a pierogi. But one thing I really want to compliment Dempsey's for is this. Dempsey's is the reason, in my mind, downtown Fargo went from a place nobody went to where it is today. Right across the street, they're putting up a building that's 18 stories tall. And I truly believe that Dempsey's was the epicenter, was the thing that kicked off downtown Fargo to what it is today, because it took someone saying, I'm going to bring something new. I'm going to bring something exciting. And if the businesses downtown don't complement what was done by these pioneers, they should. Because let's go back to 1999. Downtown Fargo was not a place that people were going to. 1999. Downtown Fargo isn't a place people are going to. You couldn't give away a ticket to an NDSU Bison football game. They were averaging like 1,000 people per game. And Fargo had not hit any kind of boom. West Fargo was still a distance away from Fargo. Flash forward 20 years later, we have completely changed the outlook of this area. And I really believe Dempsey's is a huge part of that.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know if it was Dempsey's, or if it would have happened anyways, but it happened just that had to be, I mean, that was the right time that we got in, or I should say we got in just at the right time when they started to put in all this money to revitalize downtown. And I mean, whether we would have gone there or not, I don't know if, the downtown would still be what it is right now. But I mean, I think it just so happens we're in the right place at the right, I mean, we just happened to be opening right at the time when.
But I mean, it was a reason for people to come downtown, right? Is this particular watering hole, right? And that's the thing that gets people, starts injecting them into that local area. So once other businesses go, look at all these people, using the space, walking around down here. Yeah. Dempsey's was certainly a massive spot of that.
Well, and it filled a niche with the aquarium. Too, the aquarium becomes a place where local music, because once we lost like Kirby's and Ralph's, we lost these places where you could go and see like a smaller set show where you wouldn't have to pay a $15 cover just to get through the
Or
door.
sit in a stadium seat.
Right.
I've been so bummed because every time Neil Hamburger comes to town, I've been out of town.
God.
I haven't been able to go, and he's always at the aquarium.
He does a wonderful show at the aquarium.
I
Like he fits in at the aquarium like a fish in an aquarium.
Right.
Like it is so perfect.
Well, last time I believe he came here, he brought Tim Heidecker with him
Heidecker,
to
yeah.
open. I missed that show. I had to be out of town. It makes me sick to my stomach. Anyways,
Bert, I think I'm pretty 99% sure. Bert always tells one of Neil Hamburger's jokes that I just did not like, and Bert thinks it is so funny, and he tells everybody, and it's really gross and inappropriate.
yeah. I have a couple candidates in my head that I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of them, but I won't speak them here.
there was a proposal at that show.
Was there?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was, in fact, he brought Tim Heidecker brought this guy on stage, and he's like, "You got something to ask your girlfriend?" And he's like, "Yeah, will you marry me?" And he's like, "Whoa, one ring to rule them all, guys." And he was funny, and so I couldn't tell if it was if it was a bit that was going on, but I think it was a real proposal that took place there.
Interesting.
So Wurst opens a second location in West Fargo.
Which I live like right next to now, so I'm gonna have to visit that one.
You haven't yet?
I haven't yet. I haven't really visited.
It's been over a year, man.
Well, no, I just moved there like 2 months ago,
Still no excuse.
Yeah, still no excuse.
Still no excuse.
but I want to go.
I was there opening weekend. I was very excited, and I've been there several times since, especially because some of my friends.
And I bet you don't live 2 blocks away, do you?
I don't. I have to travel across town to get there. Do people ever tell you like, "Oh, I like the West Fargo. The West Fargo one's the good one," or the person who says like, "Nope, Wurst Original. That's where it's at. That's the best." Because Tucker and I rank the Applebee's in town.
Yeah.
By which one is the good one, which one is the like all right, and then they're like, "Oh, we have to go there."
Is there a good one?
There
there
is a difference between the Applebee's in town. There really, really is. 13th Avenue is the way to go.
Classic. We call it Applebee's Classic.
Bee's Classic. Then there's Bee's Dad, which is the one where my dad always goes to on 19th Avenue, because that's where he lives up there.
Quasi Bees is on 45th Street. It's an Applebee's, but it feels like a weird Applebee's.
Yeah, it used to be like
never been.
like a seafood place or something. It was fancier.
Yeah.
Up the creek.
That's the one.
Up the creek was the
Yeah.
So okay, so
Wow, I
but
really don't
that's
get out to 45th Street.
part of the restaurant culture in town here is there's so many that come and go. So many that come and go. And when a new even if it's a chain, usually if it's a chain, if it opens in Fargo after it's been elsewhere, it's a massive news story. Like, oh my God, Red Robin's opening. When I remember when that happened, it was like just like
I would give so much.
Robin!
We had a Red Robin?
For a
No,
second.
we should. That was the thing. Is like that was the rumor, right? They're building the
Right,
old TGI
right.
Fridays is going to be a Red Robin,
Right.
And the town loses its mind.
I remember when Krispy Kreme came here years ago.
I do too because I camped out for it to open.
Wow.
I'll never get that 24 hours back.
But so with that constant influx and outflux of restaurants, I think it's a testament to what you guys have done, that you have places that are still here, and that you're opening new stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I don't know. Deserves a thank you. I don't know.
It's
But-
just not easy.
No,
not
but,
at all.
Well, and that kind of goes back to what I said. If you serve quality stuff and you care, and you're giving people good food, at a good price and whatnot, you're gonna get followers. I still have customers to this day that come to Wurst regularly that were Petrosis regulars, and that was,
right.
a long time ago.
Part
And-
of that's got to be atmosphere as well, right? They got to want to actually spend time in your space.
Oh no, they're just there to see me.
They're just there to see you. Makes sense.
How about the people who, the fact that you have created businesses that are the hot spot to work? So, for example, it's not cool to be a bartender at TGI Fridays, but it's super cool to sling some beers at Wurst.
I was hoping I could transition over to DJ Fridays. Bartend.
Do we just kneecap your future job prospects
Dreams
by
are dashed.
crapping
I know,
on
you're-
TGIF?
listen,
crushed.
You might make some of that sweet corporate money slinging $1 margaritas, but you're not going to be cool. No one is ever cool going home in their TGI Friday outfit and being like, "Oh my God, my 2-year suspenders today."
Look at all this flair I got.
But it's got to be kind of fun, right? Because
is.
it's not just the hip place to go; it's the hip place to work at too.
That's cool.
We're just gushing praise over you this whole time.
I mean, I don't hate it.
Right?
We're just softening you up for all the complaints we have prepared. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's got this complaint box
I'm just
over here
kidding.
in the corner.
How much value do you put into something like Yelp?
I don't know. I mean, I don't disregard it, but I don't completely think, oh God, if Yelp doesn't, we don't get, I mean, yes, I think it's very important, but I don't rely solely on Yelp reviews
Right.
to, feed my ego.
I always think that with something like Yelp, it's easy for people to complain, right? So, oh my God, it took 20 minutes to get my check back. So I'm going to go on Yelp and complain. But if they had a wonderful experience and they're laughing and they're walking out the door, the last thing they're thinking about is, I should go online and review this place at several different spots. And that's kind of suck to some degree, is that the squeaky wheels are the ones who are going on there more than the people who are showing you the love that you deserve.
Yeah. But, I mean, most people, well, at least I think most people, realize that there are going to be those people that give you a bad review. I mean, I'm not mean as a business owner. I mean, other people that are reading the reviews on Yelp for these
Right.
places. Yeah, you get a few, like you said, squeaky wheels. But if you have 100 unsqueaky wheels, people are going to realize, like, okay, either there was there are circumstances where, yeah, they did have a bad experience and it was our fault,
Right.
or the servers, or but there are a lot of people that exaggerate, I waited 20 minutes and then I've honestly, like, seriously looked at the cameras and it was like, it was 3.5 minutes. And well, and I mean, a lot of times they think it feels like 20 minutes.
Right.
But it wasn't 20 minutes.
A lot of people know too. If I raise a stink, they'll probably try to do something for me. That's got to be a part of it too, for
There
sure.
are some, and there are some that are like repeat people that, like, okay, the first time it's like, oh, maybe it went, and then after, like, the second time it's like, okay, like,
Right. Like, you don't want to do a bad job, but you also don't want to be abused by your
exactly.
customers.
Oh, go to that place. You complain about their food and you'll get everything for free.
Anytime I've ever used something like Yelp to help me make a decision on where I'm eating, it's always when I was traveling. Like, I don't know this place I'm going to be. I need to find something and mitigate some of the risk of whether or not it's going to be a good meal. But living here in town, I'm not looking at online reviews. It's really just, I'm going to go try it out.
Yeah.
Do it. Most people who go to restaurants don't then go, I should write about this on the internet.
Right.
They just go to the restaurant, use the service. Maybe they'll tell a friend about it the next day. So I would assume that things like that, especially in a market the size of Fargo, has more to do with people who are just here for a day or two.
I agree. Well, I'm with you. Like, I don't even really review anything on Yelp, but
Right.
I will read the reviews, like, when I'm out of town, or in the cities, or, it's like, oh, what's good. But I will say, just last night? Yes, it was last night. There was a couple in there at Wurst downtown, and they were in from Tennessee. They're here to watch one of their relatives play in a football game at Concordia, and they read about us on Yelp, and they decided they wanted to come in because of all the great reviews.
There you go.
Well, I think it was Yelp. It was one of those.
See, JJ doesn't write Yelp reviews. He writes sternly worded long form letters only
Written
if
by
he's upset.
hand.
Only if he's upset. And he's done it a couple of times.
Uh-huh.
And
I'm trying to decide if that would be exciting to read or not.
he's targeted Dairy Queen.
Yep.
He's targeted
Now,
Applebee's.
Wait,
here's-
which Applebee's? The
I think
Applebee's?
just corporate.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Probably not about something that happened at Classic Bees. Probably something at
It's a
Dad Bees or
corporate-wide
Quasi Bees.
decision that takes place, and I feel like I need to, have something. But here's why I do a sternly worded handwritten letter, because it comes with not only my complaint, but a solution to it as well. So, for example, there is an ice creamery that Tucker just named that I won't name again on 13th Avenue in Fargo, across from Shields Home
Milk
and Hardware.
King.
Yep. And consistently, their service has been
Cheese
subpar.
Lord?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I would eat. That's what you need to name your next restaurant, Cheese Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, I would eat a Cheese Lord all
Sorry, I
the time.
interrupted you. But your letter.
But yeah, so
Lactose Lord.
I said, listen, there are basic foundations of your business where if you are not training your employees to know the difference between hot fudge and chocolate syrup, you are doing your history a disjustice, an injustice, a disservice.
But for the record, hot fudge and chocolate, neither hot fudge nor chocolate are dairy.
Right.
I mean, in their defense,
right. It's not called.
They're not.
Get out of here right now. They are
called the Fudge Federation.
They are
the American Chocolate Society.
When was the last time you went in there and just got an ice cream? Just ice cream, nothing
Don't
else.
get JJ started on the ACS.
I
Answer the damn question,
I don't
Lisa.
really go there.
Exactly, right? So it's not they.
And if I do, it's like I get a dilly bar,
which is dipped in what?
whatever you decide, butterscotch, cherry, or chocolate.
So obviously, these are foundational tenets of their business that they should know
could
the
be
difference.
Hot fudge. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know the difference.
And they should know. That's my point. But so they, what pisses me off the most is when I get a company who doesn't bother to like send me even a note back. I'll just get a letter to my house. Like, so this one had like $20 in Dairy Queen coupons. And I was like, no, I just told you you're a piece of garbage. And I'm not going to use these $20. I've had them for almost 6 years.
What the?
The
it's $20
coupons.
gift certificates, not cash.
Not cash. Oh, that would have been great.
How would you have felt if they would have sent you a jar of chocolate and a jar of hot fudge and said, "You figure it out, dumbass"?
I would have at least been like, "Thank God someone read my letter and took it to heart."
Actually, respond, yeah.
Right? I think that's the big difference, right? Is when someone complains about something, they want their voice to be heard. They don't want to be, like, okay, well, what can I do to make this better?
Yeah, what they're saying when they're saying there wasn't an even distribution of walnuts on my strawberry shake, what they're really saying is I haven't talked to my daughter in 5 years.
She got more sprinkles than I did.
That's what they're really saying.
I had one weekend with my kids. And you ruined it. You ruined it. In fact, I'm writing this letter instead of being with them right now.
That banana wasn't split in twain.
You ever get complaints like those, Lisa?
Okay, so here's how I judge.
Trying to think, probably.
Here's how I judge local establishments. And this is probably very Midwestern of me, is of the ranch. How does the ranch taste? Now, I have no complaints about your ranch.
I'd say we have very good ranch.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
And for the record, not many people actually make their own ranch. It's, in a little cup. And
Exactly.
they pour it out of a jug.
Like a jug, yeah.
Your ranch gets a thumbs up from me.
Well,
there are
thank you.
other places in town that get a very, very terse, with a pouty face, thumbs down. And I really dislike it. And I'm not against people using stuff out of a jar. I get it. But don't
buy the cheapest one.
Don't buy the cheapest one.
Taste them. See which one is actually like the best of the.
So how do you make a decision like that? Like, at what point in creating a business is it say, like, we are going to make ranch in-house, and hopefully that won't be the thing that takes us down?
And is that an upper Midwest thing? Like that? I've heard so much that it's a Midwest thing to dunk everything in ranch.
I guess I don't. I mean, I maybe have heard that. I mean, everybody does dunk everything in ranch.
Yeah, for sure.
They dunk their ranch in ranch.
Right. We even like sub genres of ranch.
We drink ranch out of a cup, walking down the street wearing shorts and a sweatshirt.
Yeah. And then a vape pen.
You've seen those got milk mustaches? Ours is like have some ranch.
Got ranch.
Well, it's to the point. I mean, at Applebee's, when I ask for a side of ranch, I make sure to make a hand gesture and say "big side of ranch,"
like a soup cup size.
like a soup cup, because you want to be able to fully submerge your boneless buffalo wings. You don't want
to get stuck at the. Okay, well,
like a serial killer, right? Like, what are you doing? You should be dunking the whole thing in ranch, but sometimes you get not even a shot glass worth of ranch. And it's like, what state are we living in right now? Is this Rhode Island? No, it's not. This is North Dakota. Give me more ranch than that.
Can I also comment on this? Have you ever do either of you use ketchup, like when you eat a burger or fries or anything like that?
It'll come on there.
Ketchup?
Like, I'll put ketchup on there.
I eat fries with my ketchup. And I love ketchup.
Okay.
I get it from my dad. I blame him.
So that being said, have you ever used a single packet of ketchup and been like, this is the appropriate amount of ketchup? That packet should be, we've figured it out with dressings, right? Like, you would never get a ranch dressing like that
for
big.
a salad. Yeah.
Why is that not 3 times the size?
Right.
And they only give you 2. It's like, Seriously?
I say
that's enough for 4 French fries.
I say a handful. I'm like, I want your big meaty hand to, like a claw machine, go into the ketchup bin and then put it in my bag.
And then put your other hand in there too and give me 2 claws.
I remember the first time I saw someone at like Burger King or something, instead of go for the little ketchup cups,
use the lid
they
of
took
lid of
2
their-
lids and they put them on top of each other so that they wouldn't go through the center crosshatch, and then they just loaded up with it. I bet my dad was the first.
You know
one I
what's
saw
less
do it.
messy? You know those paper cups?
You can open them.
Open them.
But you still don't get as much surface area as you do with the lids, right?
But I like, maybe not. However, I do like it to be in a bowl form because otherwise just a flat surface. You got to lay your fries flat to get ketchup on them.
You should be at least 5 or 6 frying at a time. Like do you eat individual fries?
Sometimes.
You're a serial killer. Like that's
I'm a
what
serial
that's
killer?
what you are. Only serial killers do that.
We had a previous guest on the
Well,
show.
it
I
depends
can't
on how
remember who it
hungry I
was,
am.
but talked about I eat my fries one at a time.
Well, I don't like. It depends on how hungry I am. Sometimes it's just like I'm getting down at the end. I'm like, oh, I'll have a couple more.
Let's say McDonald's fries, which they're not like hefty fries, right?
That's like open my mouth and pour them in.
Yes. So you should be.
Pour some French fries on me.
Fries and ketchup. Fries in one hand, ketchup in the other.
But see, McDonald's doesn't. You can get ranch from McDonald's, but it comes in little packets. It's gonna taste sweetened, like it's got aspartame in it or something.
Well, see, ranch is not. You don't need to eat ranch with everything. Not everything needs to be dipped in ranch.
but
Tucker.
most things do, and I want the ranch to be delicious when I do that.
Name something that's not good with ranch.
Well, I don't know. I don't eat that much ranch.
Dilly bar.
I actually.
It could be actually.
Dilly bar might not be good.
They make ranch ice cream at the Minnesota State Fair.
You know, I've never put ranch on a brat. I have put mayo on a brat, and I do love it. A mayo and mustard combination on a brat
Oh yeah. It's,
rules. He hates both mayo and mustard.
oh.
yeah.
Like it makes him vomit, especially
Really?
mustard. We made him eat a spoonful of mustard
Well, we
once
got
on the
600
show.
Really?
fans,
Makes you
and-
vomit? Prove it.
Yeah. I almost pooped my pants. I was going so hard I could feel like the poop coming.
I think we should
It was
take
awful.
How can you like?
we should take this conversation in a right turn quickly here.
Yeah.
The way I first met Lisa was actually in a play at Theater B years ago. We did a show called Almost Maine.
Oh, I love that show.
The show itself is a series of small vignettes, little small scenes, and Lisa was in that show.
I was.
Lisa was fun. Lisa was awesome.
What scene
Lisa
were you
is
in?
fun. I was in 2 scenes, different character.
Yep. Each actor, I think, was in 2 different scenes.
Oh yeah, I
believe.
think so.
Something like that. Yeah.
Was I in the opening? I think I was in the opening scene. No, maybe not. But
Trying to remember.
me and oh god, I can't think of his name.
Was it Matt? You and Matthew, the younger guy, or John Noon, the older guy?
no, it wasn't him. I was thinking of the other guy actually. That
Mikey Sunrun.
Oh, Mikey.
Yes.
Were you
Mike
and
Sunrun.
Mikey in the one where you guys were ice fishing and like you
No,
keep
but
falling?
it's there's an ice skate, I think, or something.
Oh, a shoe.
shoe.
No, there was one about skates. Oh yeah, because she couldn't find her other shoe, and that's when the other shoe dropped.
Right.
That was
There we
I
go.
wasn't in that one, but I was in with Mike Sunram. We're on a bench looking up at the stars, and I like.
Oh, yeah. I think that like that was the imagery that
That's
was used
on the
like
poster.
It was.
yeah.
The imagery of 2 people on the bench.
And
on
that's
the
why
poster.
you like all the lights, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why they all the Christmas lights got stapled because you could see all the stars, right?
Right.
Probably. I don't. That was a long time ago. But
What year that was?
we were in that one magazine. They had me and Mike pose out.
Yeah, that's
out in
right.
the little fountain by the old depot over
That's
there.
right. Yeah.
Do you ever go
It was really cold.
like so Almost Maine I think is being produced or was just produced by like a local theater. If you saw that, would you ever consider going and being like, "Oh, I'd like to see somebody else's interpretation of Almost Maine."
Maybe. Colin.
Frober?
What?
Colin Frober?
Yes, he was the other one. And
That's
where I had
right.
to whack him with the ironing board, turn around with the ironing board and whack him.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And during rehearsals, I think there was one that, I mean, it's hard to gauge, like, because he's not in the same spot in every rehearsal. And, you're not always holding the ironing board in the exact same position every rehearsal. And I think there was one rehearsal, I whacked him a little too hard.
Had you done theater before that? Had you gone and done that in school?
Well,
I'm trying to remember.
We didn't have theater when I was in school.
Okay.
Not in my school.
Gotcha.
When I was your age, we didn't have theater.
The Greeks had theater.
No, I grew up in a little town. We our theater in our school was the junior class play and the senior class play.
There you go.
But I was in both of those.
Yeah, there you go.
What town are we talking about?
Verndale, Minnesota.
Ferndale. I've been there before.
Home of the Pirates.
Did you do pirate themed plays?
No.
Only pirate, like taking regular plays, but then making them about pirates instead.
Charlotte's Web, and instead of a young pig, it's a young pirate.
And every sentence you have to end with "ar matey."
Do you have a favorite dish? Personal favorite dish at one of your places? Like, if I'm going to go eat at this place, this is what I'm typically trying to eat.
I don't.
Okay.
Because I can't decide.
Okay.
Which I love about 20 different things.
How about we say like the Mount Rushmore of your favorite foods at what? Let's just say worst. Let's just say worst.
Well, and again, I mean, it depends on what my mood, like what I meant, or if I'm hungover, Spetzel mac and cheese.
Okay.
Or cheese curds.
Ooh.
And probably a burger.
Nice.
Extra greasy.
You can order it extra greasy?
No, but I don't know. Maybe.
How would you do that? Just keep some grease around and soak it in that? To make it extra?
Okay, so like
Pour some fat on it.
I'm sure people came to Bertrossa's and asked for their sandwich dipped, which
yeah.
was a Chicago style.
I love them dipped.
You
So
dip it
good.
in the grease. And
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Well, it's not dip it in the grease. You dip it in
it's the juice.
the au jus.
Yeah.
But there's two different ways of dipping, you know.
Let's
Or
hear
I
them.
should say two different two different ways you can get it dipped.
Let's hear them.
Well, it's dipped or double dipped. Dipped is just a quick little dunk. I like mine doubled. I like mine.
You like to be soggy.
Oh God, soggy, and then extra jardinera and sport peppers. Oh my God, I regret it, but it's so good.
Dipped and double dipped.
So if
might
none
be
of you
the
have ever
episode
tried
name.
your beef dipped in the au jus, if you're ever in Chicago, or if we ever do it, bring it back. You got to get it dipped.
It's so good. So good. The place.
I mean, it's messy. It's a fork and knife.
Yeah.
right.
The place
Right.
I lived at, like, you'd get a dipped sandwich and they'd have to. They couldn't wrap it in the paper they'd normally wrap the sandwich in because it's
It's too
now
wet.
more liquid
Yeah.
than
Right.
it is solid.
Right.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, they are tough to wrap when they get them dipped and to go. It's like you like do the carry and hope not to drip too much on the floor as you're turning over to the wrap station and we have the waxed butcher paper, so it was nice. It wasn't just regular unwaxed butcher
right.
paper, but yeah, it's like double wrap it in butcher paper.
Right.
And-
Did you guys have a hand in that restaurant that was down by the VFW for a little bit before it became Toscana?
Yep.
That
wow.
place-
Wow, good memory.
Let me tell you something. That place was ahead of its time because I remember going there nonstop. Like you had the Elvis sandwich there,
Yeah,
and that place was legit.
I don't know what I can say about that. No,
It was a learning experience.
It had a lot of potential. Like the food was good. The concept was good. We just made a couple bad decisions in
people.
what's the word I want to say? Oh yeah, well, let's just leave it at that.
In staffing or
In
partnership.
partnership. That's
Gotcha.
the word I was
There
maybe
you
looking
go.
for.
Gotcha.
Isn't that the rub nowadays? Because here's the thing. It's so hard. It's so hard to get a restaurant started. Like most restaurants are not owned by, Pam and Michael.
Right.
They're owned by restaurant groups,
Mm-hmm.
which are comprised of 10 to 15 investors who have all put up some capital so that this place could open. I think like if you want to open like a Fuddruckers, you need like $1.5 million liquid to be
For the
able to be
record,
considered.
sorry, I shouldn't
yeah.
say this, but I'm gonna. We were the sole investors at that place. We just people we partnered with.
Got it. Right on.
And that's the thing is, I think that's what sucks, right? Is like you guys are really making a go at these things.
That was our money on the line.
And that had to have been like a huge setback to say like, gosh, this happened to us. We're gonna have to regroup and go because
Well, not even that, but financially,
Yeah.
it's like, well, it takes a long time to regroup because you ain't getting that money back.
Right, for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about this fish and chips place that I've been hearing about for, I want to say, almost 2 years. It's been in the planning stages.
Sounds about right.
And so tell us a little bit about it and whet my appetite for what I'm going to be eating on day one. Like, what's the style? What are we looking at?
Well, first off, it's called Beer and Fish Company. It was originally going to be called Beer Fish, but turns out fun fact, there's a Beer Fish in San Diego that has the name, because you usually just trademark. I mean, if you're just going to stay in that your state, you just trademark it in that state. Well, they have the name trademarked throughout the country because they plan on expanding into other states. And so we got a letter that said, stop.
Yeah.
You can't have this name. So they were like, oh, well, and it's been, so much talk for so long about beer fish. It's like, well, we don't really want to stray away from that too much. So,
Right.
So we named it Beer and Fish Company.
I actually like the name Beer and Fish Company. Like if I didn't know about the other beer fish, if those two were put in front of me, I would actually go with that one. That's the one that I really like. But just the notion, even if it's been in the works for 2 years, to me, that sounds like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like these are huge projects to take on and they're going to take time.
Well, I mean, that building wasn't even built when that building wasn't even built. I mean, maybe in the beginning stages, but
right.
So the paperwork was already signed.
Because it's gonna be in the what do they call that? The Roco Commons or whatever
like
it is.
The Dillard.
The Dillard.
Yep.
Ooh, I like the name, the Dillard. It seems fancy.
The Dillard, and the entrance is only on or in the alley. I mean, you can't enter from the street. Those those new little shops are only alley access.
Is it amazing how much that alley has transformed in the last couple of years? I mean, it went from like the only people
Don't
who were
walk
back
alone
there.
at night.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Or even in the daytime sometimes.
To being a really vibrant place, although it must really put the kind of the screws on, a lot of deliveries, like the places like Dempsey's take place through that back alley. And when you're trying to get a truck down there, now that we're adding patio seating and it must really be putting a little bit of pressure. In Fargo, we have not gotten to the point with our downtown area where we have had to start accepting the things that larger cities do. For example, when I lived in Chicago, at any given time, the street closest to the parking, like on either side of the street, a semi could just stop there and that's where they're going to unload. And you're going to have to go around or you're going to have to go on another block because there's no other place for them to unload, right?
Yep.
To be able to pull their product out. And so we're not there yet, but I have a feeling we're going to be there pretty soon.
Well, I mean, they are narrowing a lot of streets, I've noticed. And especially with so many street closures.
Yeah.
There have been semis that have had to, basically take up a lane or take up, a parking lot entrance because there's just, where else are they going to go? Like,
right. So even over here, like on 5th Street, I'm sort of pointing to the right, but east in Fargo here, where the Forum is.
Forums. Oh,
yeah, but it's just like one block.
Forum's that way.
One block east and then south a bit. But on that block over there, there's a semi-truck bay that semi-trucks have to back into on 5th. Right. So if you need to get into the Forum or Prairie Public or the bank, like you're going to wait 5 minutes while this guy does this incredibly intricate, difficult move to do. It's actually kind of good entertainment when you're watching it happen.
I will say, as maybe 2 weeks ago, out behind Wurst, and the trucks go there and they deliver to, like Noble, Pounds, and it wasn't one of our drivers to deliver to us. He was delivering to another business, but there was nowhere for him to go. And off of Roberts Street, where the fire station is, he backed down the alley between where Drum Conrath and the old like Olive Areas is, Joseph School.
Yep.
Through there, there's a dumpster that sticks out. Even before you get to the sports bar area, he goes, my mirrors were touching. He backed all the way down and all the way down to by Wurst and parked behind Wurst. And I was like, oh my God, that had to be interesting. And Jason Cassette, he's like, yeah, he goes, I watched him. It was pretty amazing. Because that is, I'm like, you backed down that whole alley with like inches to spare on either side.
Those are the everyday heroes that it's good that someone, like, it's awesome that Jason got to watch that so that he could tell the story later on to be like, I got to tell you about what an amazing feat I witnessed today.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, from what I hear.
I think one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen as far as like an average Joe in a driving maneuver is there was a dude who drove a bus through the woods when we were tubing down the Otter Tail and the bus was taking us to the launch point, and the highway patrol had set up this thing. He's like, sorry guys, you know, like there's been an accident, you can't come. And he's like, I got a bus full of people and they're all getting pretty drunk. And he's like, there's nothing we can do. And so he took what started off as just a gravel road, thinking like, I'll just work my way around. And then the gravel road ended, and then he drove through the woods and finally found another road and then got us back to where we needed to be. And I remember, like, you know, you can imagine the amount of bouncing that you're doing in that thing, and everyone in the bus,
The bus is like 60 years old.
Yeah, over the river and through the woods to Grandmother's house we go.
It was amazing. It was so cool.
That sounds like a fun time.
That sounds like the next business prospect after beer and chips, right? It will now be a bus that's a restaurant.
Cheese
It's
Lord.
Cheese Lord.
No, that's true. Then a semi-truck that's got a restaurant in the back, and it only drives in reverse.
Can I pitch to you some restaurant ideas that I've had over the years?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Shark Tank the hell out of this kid, please.
So
Is this where I step away and go to the bathroom? I'm just kidding.
No, trust me. I am a frequent eater-outer. So I think that's one thing. One thing is called the Locals, right? And so what the Locals does is it features recipes you can't get anymore from anywhere else. For example, everyone who does deep digging can get the old cheese Frenchie recipe from what used to be Mom's Kitchen. It was King's Food Host way back in the day. And the cheese Frenchie, if you're not familiar, is a deep fried grilled cheese sandwich, and it's amazing. It's like a Monte Cristo, but only way more Midwestern.
I miss Grandma's Monte Cristo.
There you go. Get the, reverse engineer Grandma's Monte Cristo.
Go to Duluth and go to Grandma's and get a Monte Cristo.
Is that still there? Like, do they still have one?
I believe so. They do that. Well, they still do the Grandma's Marathon every year.
Maybe. I don't know.
Let me Google it.
Yeah.
Where's my phone?
So you'd also feature like pickles from the granary and all of these recipes that have, kind of disappeared over the years that you can have. And so it's a place that features all of these great locals. So it'd be a great thing like Bertros's beer cheese soup. You can only get it at the Locals, right? And then because how many times do people say, oh, we want to go eat somewhere? Are there any great local restaurants? The Locals. That's the place. Number 2, it's a place that just features brunch food all the time. We love...
Is this a separate concept
This is a
or in
separate
addition
concept,
to... Okay.
yeah. We love
Brunch?
the brunch. Also, I've never understood this. Has there ever been a restaurant that, let's say you're on both sides of a building and it shares a single kitchen, but it's 2 distinctly different restaurants? So like you think, oh, I'm going to go to such and such place because I love that restaurant, but really it's the same restaurant.
So like A&W and Long John Silver or something, or
yeah, but they're not combined like that. Like you're playing on like brand loyalty, right? So let's say one place is called like the Wiener Dog's Delight, and the other place is called Champion Dogs, and they're both hot dog restaurants that are right next to each other, and you build up this myth about how like this person started this restaurant because his family was into hot dogs. Well, this restaurant was started by a couple.
you really own both.
But you really own both. And it's all the same stuff coming from it. But you get people who are die-hard loyal being like, go to hell, man. The TW Pancakes is the best pancake house in Fargo.
Is this based off the Dr. Seuss Butter
You do
Battle?
that with
It's similar.
Philly cheesesteak, or because the people in the,
Don't get me started on Philly cheesesteaks.
I was just saying there's a competition. Okay, never mind.
Please actually now do say get me started on Philly cheesesteaks.
No, just because there's like I've never been, so I don't have an actually say I
will tell you this.
I know there's people that are like diehards. There's like two. They say they are the first one restaurant, or I don't know. There's the big rivalry out there between two restaurants.
There's only one good Philly cheesesteak in this area. There's only
Applebee's?
one. No, it's not Applebee's. It's I wish they had a cheesesteak. It's Grand Junction, and theirs isn't even like a cheesesteak. It's their own version of it. But so you can get like the Grand Junction cheesesteak, which is tasty, but nothing tastes like it does in Philly.
You could
nothing.
Also, you could also get a Philly cheesesteak sausage at Wurst.
You can, and I have had that, and that's
I believe
good.
that, and I believe that's from NDSU, correct?
But that does
Correct.
not stand in for an actual cheesesteak. Like, it's delicious on its own, but it's like no one can get
Chop it up.
No one can get the bread right. So many people use ground chuck for some reason instead of thinly sliced ribeye, which is what you're supposed to
Okay,
use.
that's what?
A lot of people use ground chuck for their steak.
Round chuck?
Yeah, instead of just like thinly sliced ribeye, which is what you should be using. And then no one puts Cheese Whiz on it. Everyone has
It's all about the whiz.
They go
Whiz.
they go
Or
straight to
whip.
provolone, which is the worst cheese to put on a cheesesteak because it's flavorless.
Son of a.
At the very least, it should be slices of American cheese, so you can
Write
get a
them
melt.
a letter.
I would like to, but
With
no
a
one
solution.
No one wants to listen.
Here's another idea. So you make real thin waffles, right? And then you wrap them around.
Called crepes?
No. Because it's got to have the indentation. Like that's
Oh,
important,
waffles. Yep,
right?
sorry,
Yep,
sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
waffles.
Okay, ooh, okay.
Thin pancakes would be crepes the whole way. But then you wrap the sausages in Wurst in those, and then serve it with some maple syrup, and then now you've got the brunch sausage.
Dude, are you serious?
Yeah.
We actually served that on our menu.
Do you really?
No, we did for a while.
Oh.
I mean, it was years ago. But
Where were you then, JJ?
Well, listen, I only get the Philly cheesesteak when I'm
and I believe the sausage was like a maple or a blueberry maple sausage.
See, now that's the problem. That's the problem right there. I don't need more sweet. I need the savory with my sweet waffle.
Well, what sausage do you want in there?
I want like an elk.
Like a venison sausage?
Yeah, I don't want to be forced into a particular sausage. I want my sausage
I do
options
have
to
to
be
say,
open.
my parents make their own sausage, smokehouse and whatnot on the farm in Ferndale.
Nice.
But I don't know if it was venison, but I mean, sometimes it was venison. But I will say venison sausage dipped in syrup is good.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
bet it would
Well,
be.
my mom would make it for breakfast as our breakfast sausage with everything else and slather
But
on
you
the
think
syrup.
it came
would
with
be
a side
amazing.
of syrup to dip in?
What's that?
Like at
Oh,
Wurst,
yeah.
it came with a side of sausage. Is it like a maple syrup?
We
Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you giving me a brunch that's all sausage? Why, Lisa? I'm
'cause
asking questions.
We
that
don't make. I don't remember how we made the waffles.
real thin.
I honestly don't remember how we made the
If
waffles.
you go to the Norsk Kustfest out in Minot, like the Norwegian festival that they have out there, they make these super like thin. They almost feel like soggy waffles. They're not real crispy, but they will layer them like with lox and some fishes and stuff like that. But they also do one that has sausage in it, and it's really good. But it's like Jimmy Dean sausage. It's not worthwhile. You guys have much better.
You said they're thin, like soft or waffles. Okay, sorry, crispy waffles or like floppy waffles. Which one do you like better?
Oh, crispy waffles.
Crispy.
I'm a crispy waffle guy. You like flop waffles?
I like floppy waffles. Well, that's what I grew up eating. So
Why don't you just have a pancake?
Maybe
It doesn't have the indentations. The syrup runs off.
It's true. I mean, we should be putting more pockets into food that we eat so that it can capture.
So it can hold
the
more
ranch.
ranch or
Yeah.
syrup.
right.
We're all on the same page.
I'm gonna double
really
dip
living the
my
dream.
floppy waffle in some ranch.
Just start taking like a little tomato core and coring out
Yeah.
holes in our sausages.
Yeah.
And
You can also do this. This is
then we could serve sausage dots.
Brilliant ideas.
That's a good idea right there.
Like that Seinfeld
Sausage
show,
made out
that
of
episode
dots?
of the muffins.
Yep.
The muffin tops and the. This is just bigger the bottoms.
I'm a big fan of Thanksgiving waffles. What I do is I take leftover stuffing, and that's what makes the waffle itself. Put it in the waffle iron, crisp it up. It's nice. Then you put a little shredded turkey, dollop of mashed potatoes, some gravy on top of that thing. They are delicious.
And you put them in what to crisp?
I put it waffle maker. I put the
you put it in
the
waffle
stuffing.
maker.
I shove that in and put
Okay.
the waffle maker on
Sounds
top.
tasty.
It's so good. Yeah.
JJ,
You should open a restaurant with that leftovers.
Listen,
call
There's
the
a
restaurant
concept.
leftovers.
Yeah, that's what I want.
We made this last night.
No doggy bags. You bring in your leftovers, and we're gonna turn them into your next
There you
meal.
go.
Just bring it on in.
I just checked. It's noon right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna peace out of here.
Oh, actually,
peace out.
let's just sign off.
we just
I
sign
think
off?
we're good.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we'll just finish this off here.
Wait, we didn't talk about everything on my checklist.
What was the other things on the checklist? Let's go through it.
Muppets, oranges, Real estate.
Okay, the best orange is the cutie. The best Muppet is Dr. Teeth. And then what did you say?
Real estate.
Real estate. Never buy in a bull market. I don't know.
Everything you wanted to talk about, Lisa?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay. Well, listen, you can always come back if you want.
This was fun. Thanks.
Yeah, we should do
Appreciate it.
next time. We should do
Actually,
this.
I can't believe it's already noon.
We should do this
Yeah, flew
at
by.
Wurst next time. That's
Right.
what we should do. We should be sitting around and sampling some sausages.
And if you're hungry or thirsty, hit up Dempsey's, hit up Wurst, and coming soon, the Beer and Chips Company.
Beer and fish.
Beer and Fish
Company,
I
sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Beer and Fish Company.
You asked what would be on the menu.
Yeah.
Okay, I honestly don't really know a lot of what they picked out, but I know there's going to be an oyster bar. So if you like oysters on the half shell, if there's any left after I get to them, then
yeah,
you can
that
have
sounds
them.
awesome.
Beer
I
and Fish
love
Company.
those things. East Coast. Woo. East
So
Coast
is that what's
oysters.
going to be? It's going to be kind of like East Coast inspired, like
Well,
the
I'm sure we'll have
Delaware,
both, but
Maryland,
I'm
stuff
all
like
about
that?
East Coast. Oh, I mean East Coast oysters.
Oh,
Prince Edward
lovely.
Island, the best. There's gonna be. I know there's a crab Louis salad. I know there's more things. I can't think of them right now.
It'll
because
come
it's
from
a-
the water.
So you guys are pretty much getting deliveries almost every day then, right? Because the fish is coming in all the time and...
Oh, I thought you meant like
Christmas-
right now. I'm like, no.
No?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, the oysters are getting, I know there'll be like special delivery. Probably, yeah, maybe every other day. I guess I'm not sure how that got set up.
Until
but-
gone. Right?
Until gone.
That's exciting.
Get them while they're hot. Well, cold. Get them while they're alive. I don't know.
Lisa Myers has been our guest. You can stop at all their great spots, and we'll see you on the opening day. If people are listening to this afterwards, leave a great Yelp review for the Beer and Fish Company.
And if you did have a bad experience, maybe write a letter. So, and honestly, I was going to say when you write the letter, why you write a letter, I was going to say, well, I feel like you would be taken more seriously if you wrote a letter.
I think so,
Although
too.
you didn't get taken seriously, so.
No, yeah. It did not work out.
But that was corporate. We're not corporate.
Right.
Exactly.
It goes to like I could probably find you on the street one day and just hand it over to you myself.
That's how Tucker found me. Just, hey, oh, look at her. She looks so pathetic.
That's exactly what happened. I was driving around. She was living in a cardboard box. I said, come on our podcast, Lisa.
Well, it's been
And
a real
look at me now.
Yeah, and look at you. You're living the dream. Well, thank you very much for coming on the
you.
show.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
A huge thanks to Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty for sponsoring this podcast. Folks, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, contact Natalie Deutsch today because Natalie Deutsch is not only a previous podcast guest, she's somebody who's going to care enough to sell your property for top dollar. She's also going to find you the best price possible if you're purchasing a new home. Last year on average, Natalie earned her clients $4,000 over list price on their homes and sold them faster than the market average. On average, Natalie's selling a home every 3.74 days. That's 2 homes a week. Those numbers don't lie. Find out why Natalie is one of the top agents in this entire market. Get a hold of her today, Natalie at hatchrealtyfm.com. You can also call 701-388-9338 or go on to livefargomorehead.com. That's livefargomorehead.com. Read all of her amazing reviews and then listen to her episode of JJ Meets World. Thanks again to Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode of JJ Meets World and would like to help us continue to produce 2 new episodes every week, you can donate to our Patreon. Check out patreon.com/JJ Meets World and donate today. Even as little as $1 a month can go a long way. Visit our website at www.jjmeetsworld.com or hit up our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the sites the kids are using these days. If you'd like to stay up to date on new episodes of JJ Meets World, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever you consume the podcast that you love. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by checking out www.moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, go to linebenders.com and you can find direct contact info for JJ. Dempsey's has these the most amazing hot dogs, but they're so cheap that I always think, am I going to get sick from eating this? I never have, but I wonder what kind of a lost leader they have for that. So a future episode will feature a hot dog specialist who can break down the abilities of hot dogs to customer interactions.